right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Yeah.
Today, we are tackling something that's super relevant to all of us, whether we realize it or not.
Absolutely.
Brand marketing. More specifically, how brands work to cultivate a sense of trust in you and me.
Right.
To the point where we're ready to actually buy their stuff.
Spend our money.
That's right. Spend our hard-earned money.
Yeah.
It all kind of boils down to this idea of scaling trust.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Which,
It's sort of a buzzword, right?
yeah, it is.
Like, it has a lot of meaning behind it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that sounds kind of simple at first.
Yeah.
When you really start to unpack it.
Yeah.
I think the reason why it's so important is because it really gets at the heart of what brand marketing is really all about.
Exactly.
It's not just about flashy advertising or catchy slogans.
Right.
It's really about building genuine, lasting trust with your customer.
Yeah. And so I think it's important for us to even define, like, what does it mean to scale trust?
Right.
What does that actually mean?
Well, you think about it, right? Like, when we think about trust, we think about it on a very small scale, usually, right?
Yeah.
Person to person.
From person to person.
I trust my friend. I trust my family member. You know, you trust the local shopkeeper who's always been honest with you in the past. Right. Scaling trust is taking that very personal feeling and somehow replicating it with millions of people who've never even met the person behind the brand.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge
challenge.
It is, and it really highlights the connection to these, like, you know, hashtags that we see everywhere these days, like marketing tips. But it's not just about getting your name out there.
How do you do that?
How do you scale trust on such a massive level?
I mean, there's a lot of strategies brands use, right? And some are better than others. But I think one of the key ones that any brand that's successful at this has in common is consistency. You know, they're consistent with their messaging, they're consistent with their values, and they're consistent with their actions.
Okay, so give me an example.
So think about a brand like Patagonia.
Okay.
Right. Patagonia is known for its commitment to sustainability.
Right.
It's not just a marketing campaign for them. It's really interwoven into every aspect of their business. And remember when they took a stand against Black Friday sales a few years ago?
That was a really bold move for a company to say, hey, we're not going to participate in this huge shopping holiday.
Right.
But it really resonated with their audience.
Yeah.
Because it demonstrated their commitment to their values.
Right.
And so that kind of consistency over time really builds trust.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. And you know what you were just saying about, you know, this consistency. It reminds me of another brand that I actually trust a lot.
Yeah.
And they're really open about their
sourcing and manufacturing.
Yeah, like all their products.
And currency.
That's another
big one.
They're very transparent. And, you know, they even go so far as to highlight the challenges they face in trying to maintain these ethical and sustainable practices.
And people appreciate that.
I do.
They want to see that you're not perfect.
Yeah.
That you're actually struggling with these things because it makes you more human.
Right.
And it makes you more relatable.
Yeah, it's that honesty.
Yeah.
That really stands out to me.
Honesty and transparency, it's not just about admitting mistakes.
Right.
It's about showing your process, letting consumers see behind the scenes, even the messy parts. That makes a brand more authentic and it makes it more relatable.
Okay, so we've talked about consistency. We talked about transparency. Are there other ways that brands can kind of work on building trust?
Yeah. I mean, another really interesting approach that we're seeing more and more now is community building.
Okay.
You know, some brands cultivate incredibly strong communities around their products.
Yeah.
And they foster a sense of belonging and shared values within that community.
Wow.
And it's almost like they're borrowing trust from the community itself.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the brand's message anymore.
Right.
It's about tapping into the power of that community.
So do you think this is becoming even more important in the digital age?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We are bombarded with information and advertising online all the time. It's so hard to cut through the noise. And so building genuine connections with people is more crucial than ever.
Yeah, it all comes back to that human element.
Yeah,
Right.
we crave connection.
Yeah.
And that applies to brands as well, as much as it does to people.
So if we connect all of this back to the bigger picture, what does this mean for us as consumers?
You know, I think the big takeaway here is that knowing how trust is built
Right.
can make you a more conscious consumer.
Yeah.
Start paying attention to the ways brands are trying to earn your trust
Yeah.
through their messaging, their actions, their engagement with their community,
Right.
and decide for yourself if they deserve it.
That's a really great takeaway. I love that.
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
Be a conscious consumer.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thanks for having me.
We hope that, you've gained some valuable insights here today
Yeah.
into the world of brand marketing and this fascinating process of scaling trust.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.